Hi everyone. Things I wish I did different in the beginning when I first started streaming 5 years ago. Let's get into it. Hi everyone, my name is Gary. I go by the name of Gaz the One on social media. Today's video is going to be about me and the mistakes I made when I was streaming 5 years ago on Facebook. This may help you if you're struggling with your YouTube channel, Twitch channel, Facebook channel. These things that I went through, I never had anyone to explain how to become a content creator, how to become a streamer. I literally just had to wing it, see by others' example, and hopefully after watching this video, you will have a better understanding of trying not to do the things that I did in the very early days of me making content, broadcasting, streaming. Let's get into it. Being critical of your own content. And what I mean by being critical of your own content is when you've done a stream, when you've done a video, when you look back, you know, does it make people laugh? Is it informative? Is it entertaining? You know, does it have you saying a lot of repetitive words? I know I do the same thing, you know, it's just one of my things I do, working on it. But more importantly, is it something that you would watch? Is it something that you would engage with? Putting out any old rubbish out there on the internet and hoping that that shit will stick to the wall is not always the best practice and best ideas. Because if it isn't something that you'd watch and engage with, then how can you expect others to do the same? Let that sink in. Believe me when I say this, that I've done exactly the same thing in the early days of my streaming career. Let's talk about long and fancy intros. Now, long and fancy intros are wonderful and amazing to look at. They look really professional. You know, you go on Fiverr, you spend X amount of money on, you know, all your alerts and intros, outros, and they all look fantastic. But do you know what they do? When I see a streamer that has a really long and pretty intro, I tune out. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see intro starting screens. I want to get straight into the meat and potatoes. I want to see gameplay, maybe a little bit of chatting and then quickly going on to the gameplay. Nobody wants to see silly intros, especially if you're a small streamer. Maybe if you're a large streamer and you've got that audience and you've got millions and millions of subscribers and you're, you know, you can afford to do it, like someone like Dr. Disrespect or, you know, Stone Mountain 64. Not that I don't think he has any intros, but you get my point. I think if you're a small streamer, you need to get straight into it. Let's talk about keeping an eye on your chat window. Keeping an eye on your chat on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube is very, very important. Engagement is everything. So when people come into your stream, they say hi and you sit there and you're like, you know, in your own little world, sitting there, totally oblivious to them. You know, even if you say, look, I'm in a really intense part of this game, I really need to concentrate. And then, I've acknowledged your comment, but give me a second and I'll beat this boss battle here and, I'll do this intricate section of the game. Then as long as you acknowledge them, you've got at least like 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds to acknowledge that person before they've dipped out. They're like, see you later. You know, you've lost that. You blew it. You've lost that window to engage and have some sort of relationship with that person. The amount of times that I've gone into people's streams and I'm like, hey, like, what's up? How's it going? You know, and you're sitting there, they're playing a game, and sometimes they, they're in a busy part of the game, and you allow that, but sometimes people they don't see your comments till like 10 minutes later or like 5 minutes later, and then by that point, you don't even know what the discussion of the conversation was. You have to scroll back through your chat feed and find out what that person said. I'm guilty of that in the early days, I must admit. Like all these things I'm mentioning today, I am guilty of. I'm not telling you're doing this wrong, I'm doing this wrong. I did this sort of stuff, but I learned quickly. I don't think I was too bad at engaging on chat, but there's always room to improve. Even just having your chat, say that's your gaming screen, you want to be able to have your chat so it's like at a glance. So if you see something pop off, you see something go off on there, you can quickly, you haven't got to like turn your head. I mean, years ago when I first started, I was streaming on a lazy boy recliner. I had a really odd setup back in the day when I first started. Some of you will know that. Believe me, I deleted some of the cringy videos of some of my old streams. They were bad. But you get my point, like I used to have a laptop that was like open, it was like way down here. So every time I was playing, I literally used to go like this. And then come back to it. That's wrong. Should never have been doing that. But this is why I'm making this video, to teach you the things that I should have learned. But here we are. Let's talk about audio. I'd say that audio is probably one of the most important aspects of a live stream. Take me, for example, when I watch live streams, I'm a busy man myself. I've got a family, as you well know. And, you know, I don't always have time to sit there and watch live streams. I can listen to them. You could have all the fancy graphics, intros, and all that la-di-da stuff, you know, but at the end of the day, I'm only really interested in the audio. Some people are different. It all depends on your preferences and your circumstances of what your lifestyle is, I suppose. But the point I'm trying to make is that audio is key, and not even just like your microphone audio. Make sure like all of your audio through your streaming software is optimized correctly, so all the levels are right. You don't want your gameplay being louder or your microphone being loud. You want it all balanced just right. You know, you want it all sounding perfect. And it goes the same for teammates as well. If you're playing games like Call of Duty, PUBG, you know, you don't want your teammates to be overshadowing your microphone. You want to be, you're the star of the show. You want to be above everything else, and everything else needs to be a little bit below you. But ideally, primarily, the viewers are there for you. The gameplay is the byproduct. That's in the background. This is why I say that audio is one of the most important aspects of stream. I'm 100% guilty of not having my microphone levels correct. I've gone live, being in a rush, not checking my audio levels correctly. And I've had streams where my gameplay is louder than my commentary, which in my opinion is wrong. Your commentary should be overshadowing everything. Not to like the point where it's deafening you, but you need to be above the gameplay audio, your teammates. And I am guilty of doing this, and I don't want you to make the same mistake. So check your audio. Let's talk about playing on stream with the community. So what I mean by this is that when you start going live and you're playing games like PUBG, Call of Duty, and you know people want to jump on and play games with you. Say you're a solo player on a battle royale, like I used to be when I first started streaming, when I was PUBG player on Xbox. Bit of a bot, but I like the game. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that you're going to get people, viewers that want to come and play with you. They want to team up with you, and as a content creator, you've got to make sure that you're vetting people that come onto your stream, and they're not just some bozo that's just there just to cause drama and cause clout and basically act like a fool on stream and basically tar your reputation, tarnish your brand. Basically, that's what I'm trying to sort of say. So just make sure that when you do make friends with people through your streams and stuff, just make sure that you vetted them well enough and that you know that they're decent and they understand that you're a content creator and they understand that they're effectively promoting your brand, your business, however you want to call it. And just make sure that you have the right people around you. I'm very fortunate enough that I've got some amazing people around my stream. And, you know, I've made some of them mods. Some of them are dear friends of mine. And if you're watching this stream, watching this video, then you know exactly who I'm talking about and who you are. To summarize, just make sure that you know who you can trust, who can come on stream with you and basically act right and not act fool, and basically that doesn't bring you down or make you look like them. So just be warned. I've done this, I've made this mistake, and I don't want you to make that mistake as well. Another thing I want to add as well is that I am all about supporting other fellow content creators, but there comes a point where you have to make sure that you are not inviting what I like to call is a community leech. And basically, a community leech is someone that is a fellow content creator who basically hasn't got a very good following, hasn't got the personality, and basically wants to muzzle in on your community and basically try and poach your community for their own sake. I call these leeches. I was very naive in the beginning of streaming on Facebook. I thought everyone was a community, everyone was your friend, and 90% of the people are. But when it comes to people that are fellow streamers, people you have to be very, very careful of, because they'll be your friend to your face and in Discord chat rooms and Facebook Messenger groups and all that sort of stuff. But behind your back, they can also be conspiracy. So you have to be very, very careful. Like I said, going back to what I was saying earlier in the video about who you let in, who you trust. And it's sad that you've got to be like this, but unfortunately it is what it is. But the good thing is that these kind of people don't have the personality or the chops. So they don't last very long, these kind of people. But, you know, it's something you have to be aware of. It's something I don't really like to I'm not really feeling comfortable talking about this, because it's something that you don't really intend, you don't sort of think it's going to happen to you, but it does. But on a brighter note, I do have some very, very good friends in the Facebook community, and I've got some honourable mentions I'd like to mention. People like Commodore 64, Cult Classic Gaming, people like that. You know, they're the sort of people I don't mind. You know, we promote each other, we're respectful of each other, we have them boundaries there, and they're great examples of great content creators on Facebook gaming that I look up to and aspire to. So shout out to you guys. I think you guys are amazing. So spamming my content everywhere. And what I mean by spamming my content everywhere is the fact that when I used to go live, I used to just sit there, set up my stream, go live, and then I'd be on my gaming setup. This would be my gaming screen. And then like while the stream's on, I'd be sharing it everywhere. I'd be spamming the hell out of it all over the place, sharing it like as many times as I wanted, however many times as I could get away with. And back then, I thought that was the way to do it. But nowadays, I think a little bit differently. I know I don't stream much on Facebook, or if that any, but if I was to stream now on Facebook, I would be getting my community to share my streams for me. I'll be encouraging the community that pop in, share, and encourage them to do all those things that I used to be able to do before I started my stream. I was literally playing a game, and while I was in the middle of the game, I'd stop what I was doing, you know, go on my phone. I'd be pulling my phone up like this and, you know, and sharing and, you know, and then just completely ignoring my audience. Whereas I should have been encouraging them, telling them, asking them for help, see if they could help me out with the likes and the shares. But in them early days, I didn't do that sort of stuff, and I don't want you to do the same. Let's talk about donations. Now, I'd be a liar if I was to say that earning money through streaming content creation isn't a bad or good thing. I think it's a great thing to be able to do and be able to receive, but there's a way of going around things when it comes to people begging for donations, and I've seen it many times on sites like TikTok and Twitch and that, and it is the ultimate cringe when you see people like relying and begging for stars or bits or subs on whatever platform you're streaming on. And there's ways to go about these things, and I think personally, like in the beginning, when I first found out you could make stars, I was like, oh, stars great. And let's be honest, who doesn't like money? Come on, I'd be a liar and you'd be a liar if you didn't admit it to yourself. But I work full time, you know, I don't rely on this for income. I'm not sitting there thinking this is paying my bills and, you know, this is paying my rent, my mortgage or whatnot. It never has done. It's always, every single donation I've ever made, it's always gone back into the stream to fund equipment, giveaways, all sorts of other stuff. The point I'm trying to say is, like, don't beg for stars. Like, you know, if it's money and fame that you're after, that stuff will come in time. Focus at the moment on building your audience, build your community. And if money is what you're after, it will come in time. But just focus on building an awesome community. I openly admit that back in the day when I first started, I just used to set star goals up for, you know, for no reason. It used to just be there and, you know, just to see what would happen. And, you know, I think every streamer in the early days thinks, oh yeah, you can make money. Like this person's made, you know, thousands of thousands. I can do the same. And, you know, I think like you have that kind of in the back of your mind, but it's not like, for me, it wasn't like my primary objective. My objective was always to show people that I love video games and that I want to show the world and show people what kind of games that we play. Games like The Last of Us, our cinematic games like, you know, Uncharted and things like that. I want to show people that gaming isn't just things like Super Mario and Sonic the Hedgehog, that it can be a lot more than that. And it's that was what I really wanted to put across to people in my own way. But I don't think it's inappropriate to say, like, you know, if you want to upgrade your camera to like a web to a DSLR camera and you want, you know, if your community can help you and they like you and they want to do that, and you set a goal on Streamlabs or whatever streaming software you use, you know, to make a goal like a tip jar or something, I don't think there's nothing wrong in that. You know, as long as you say where the money's going and what you're aiming to do, and you've got a goal and you want to hit them targets, then if your community want to help you, then that's great. If they like you and they believe in you, then that's amazing. But I think that's the appropriate way to do donations and stuff, not just to beg for no reason. All these things, to summarize, that I've mentioned in this video, I have done. I am guilty of all of these things, and you probably are as well. I'm just big enough and got the big enough balls to admit that I've made mistakes. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't want you to do the same thing. I never had, like I said, anyone showing me what to do, how to do things. I just did what I thought was right for what I was meant to do. I didn't know. So, like I said, I don't want you to do the same thing. There is no streaming Bible that tells you the do's and don'ts, and, you know, you just have to just go with it. Things. It's like when you've got a job, you know, you have a boss, he tells you what to do, what, you know, how to do things, you know, the appropriate way to follow procedures. With streaming, you don't. You literally are your own boss, so you are going to make a lot of mistakes, and that's okay. It's okay to make mistakes, but the best thing you can do is to learn from their mistakes, move past them, and grow and become a better content creator. And that about wraps this video up, guys. Appreciate you listening. If you've made it towards the end of this video, I appreciate you. If you can drop a comment into the comment section and let us know if you can relate to any of these things that I've mentioned in this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the matter. My name is Gaz the One. Don't forget to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I will see you on a future video. Take care of yourselves.